Doug Hogan here, and now that you're familiar with Nuke's interface from Chapter 1, it's time to dig into those core nodes that power every comp script. So in this chapter, we'll talk about how nodes like reads, merges, transforms, and grades work together to build a seamless shot. And we'll also discuss the importance of clean comp trees and maintaining an efficient top-to-bottom, left-to-right workflow. When we reach the end of this 30-minute chapter, you'll know how to create a simple comp script using some of ActionVFX's elements. And I'll show you how to organize your node graph with labels and backdrops to help with debugging and your creative thought process. So how does that sound? Excited? Hey, me too. All right, so let's take it away. For the next 30 minutes, I want to take you through the next part of this project, which is going to be focused on all of those core nodes and how they work inside of Nuke. How do they help us put together a really cool image? This, of course, from last time is going to be our base image that everything's going to be worked on top of. And we're going to be using a whole bunch of nodes. Reads, merges, transforms, grade nodes, these weird nodes called pre-molt and unpremult nodes. We're going to be talking about all of that stuff. Over-under operations for the merges. And of course, we've talked about the importance of clean comp trees and that left to right, top to bottom workflow. So why don't we, let's dig in. So for this shot right here, we're going to be using a whole bunch of different elements. We have just already brought in this free clip from the ActionVFX library, but we're going to need a whole lot more. So we're going to be creating the first little version, the simple composite, using all the ActionVFX plates with some foreground elements from their Essentials catalog and some more of their paid assets too. So again, you all can, if you haven't, please do go to actionvfx.com and browse this huge catalog of elements that they have there. Nuke is also capable of running custom tools that you build. So if you're familiar with Python coding, you can build all sorts of tools. And I built one for this course, and it's called the ActionVFX Elements Library. So I have this little button up here. Again, I coded it so that Nuke brings it on in. And I downloaded a whole bunch of assets for this. And what's neat is that this just automatically organizes everything for us. So we're going to need some fog, right? So we're going to click in the fog category. These are some fog plates that I went ahead and downloaded. This tool generates little thumbnails for things. It looks like it failed on a couple. That's okay. We can always hit that refresh button, but I don't want to wait forever. So we're just going to start bringing in some of the different types of fog that we have. And we're definitely going to need some ground fog. So I'm going to click ground fog. Brings it right in over here. And it's going to load in. Oh, there you go. Color space inputs transform. So by default, this is, you're going to see, let's open up a base read. So this is important. So the input transform is your color space that you're going to be working in. We're going to be working in the sRGB color space. We're going to be working in that color space because that's what my monitor and most monitors are calibrated for. If you want to dig deep into color spaces, God be with you. It's a very deep hole, very fascinating and super confusing at times. So for this, we're just going to keep this simple. And I'm going to change this input transform to sRGB. And we're going to make sure that that is always going to be sRGB. So let's go in our project settings. Let's go in our color tab. And we're going to make sure everything is set correctly. So sRGB, that looks great. This is a color node. So this is where we set all of our color configurations. And this all looks correct, so we're going to hit there. So now we have this great fog element. I'm just going to scroll through. This is going to be wonderful to add on top of the plate here. So let's go ahead and start doing this. So I'm going to drag this over here. We're going to drag this over here. And we're going to hit M. This is a merge node. It's another core node. You can tell if it's a core node. Basically, does it have a hotkey? If it has a hotkey, it's a core node. And merge is a big guy. So we're going to hit we're going to grab the A handle, hook that into the fog, and we're going to grab the B, and we're going to hook that on our back plate. A is always going to be over B. So this is going to be the order of operation. Our operation is set to over. I'm I'm going to show you a couple others, but let's just go ahead and throw this over and see what happens. Nothing impressive. So that's because we have over here, we have a solid alpha. And I'm clicking over in the viewer and I'm hitting A to toggle the alpha again. And we have a solid alpha over here. So that's fine. But basically it's like two pieces of paper that we're putting on top of each other that have no transparency. So you can't see through it. But let's go ahead and change our operation so we can. So the operation is over. We're going to change this to screen. Screen is basically the cousin of the other operation over here called plus. If there's a whole bunch of image math, if you want to dig into it, hover over this operation and you can actually see the actual algorithm, so to speak, of how these pixels are being told to be put together. Now, if we do plus, you're going to see it brightens it up a little bit. If you hit screen, it just kind of like puts it back on top. So this is the way I've always kind of thought about this is plus is if you're like shining a light through the element, and screen is if you're just laying the transparency on top of it. So it's just kind of a little bit flatter, and it's going to work a lot better for fog because fog isn't luminous. So we are going to put that on top, but I want to reposition this. This isn't great. I don't want fog all over here. I want this this low-lying foreground fog just to be on the ground, right? So we're gonna, again, I'm clicking on the merge, hitting 1, and now I'm going to click on the read. I'm going to bring this, I'm going to drag it up because I'm going to hit T, and I'm going to make a transform node. Transform nodes let you move the image around. So here I want to kind of move this down to the ground, and there you go. Now it's starting to look a little bit cooler. It's starting to look a little bit more how I want it. Another thing that we can do, another node that isn't a hotkey, but I think is a core node, is a ramp node. So I'm going to hit Tab, and I'm selecting Transform because I want this node to go in right after that. And I'm going to hit Tab, and I'm going to type in RAM, and then ramp appears. Ramp is pretty cool. It's a basic node, but it's so powerful. I use this all the time. So we have these two handles here, and you see it's solid white. So I want to make this actually black. So I'm going to go in the color tab, and I'm going to make that black. And I want to see a little bit more of this. So I'm going to drag these handles. And if you hold down shift, it locks it into these angles, right? If you don't hold it, you can freeform it. I like to kind of always drag these handles in a locked position, so I always know it's perfectly vertical. So I just click that, drag it up and down. And the 0 is the bottom of the ramp. So we're just going to bring this up here. That's pretty cool. Then over, there we go. It has some other operations inside here too for scale, for instance. So if we want to scale this down, we can bring down this slider. We're going to scale it up. We can bring up the slider. We're going to keep this at 1. If you hit this 2 over on the side here, now you can adjust the values based on the up and down or the left and right independently. So I actually want to squash this. So I'm going to take the height, and I'm going to bring it down to, I don't know, something like that, 0.6. Or, hey, 0.7, lucky 7. So we're going to, there we go. Now we have that locked in, and we have independent control over the width and the height. Another option that you're going to be using quite a bit is the rotate. All right, you click that, you can rotate this around. You can also do this in the viewer independently outside of these knobs by bringing your mouse over here and hovering over until you see this little rotation. Your mouse changes this rotation feature. And if you click it, now you can drag it around however you want. Again, if you hold down shift, now you have freeform. If you don't, it kind of snaps. So it's a little bit different than the node graph. So just something to keep in mind. Another thing that we're going to be, you're going to see me toggling this on and off quite a bit, is black outside. Well, let's go ahead and let's rotate this so you can kind of, all right, see this hard line right here? So that's because it's saying anything outside of the bounding box, which is what this is considered, the frame. See this dotted line right here? This is the bounding box for the image that I'm playing with. If I uncheck black outside, well, now it's going to fill in all of that stuff with basically the closest pixel. It's just basically taking that nearest pixel right to the edge that still has color, and now it's just stretching it out into infinity. So for fog elements, I typically like to toggle black outside off so that I don't get any hard edges, right? Hard edges are no good. We're going to close that. All right, what are some other core nodes? We've talked about the reads, the grades, the merges, the transforms, the unpremult and premult. And of course, well, we haven't talked about the unpremult and premult, but we can talk about it in context with the next node that we're going to talk about, which is the roto node. So click in the DAG again, hit P. P brings up roto paint. Now there's two different rotos inside a Nuke. There's just straight roto, and then you have roto paint. Roto is just roto. It doesn't have roto paint. It doesn't have you can't blur it. You can't paint on top of it. It's just Bezier curves, things like that. Roto paint gives you access to both. And I like to use both sometimes. So I typically will always use roto paint. So just hit that P. Now you have roto paint. Now, what does this allow us to do? Well, if we double click on the roto paint here, I'm going to hit a viewer on the read node just so we can talk about this. Now, one of the things that we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to cut out this car. We're going to have to cut out this soldier because we want to have full control to layer these layers of fog throughout here, right? And put this creature in the background and have just full control over our composite. So the roto allows you to isolate different areas. So if we click inside here, and now I'm going to click right over here. It's called the Bezier. Very nice name. We're going to click there. And now we can go through here, and I'm zooming in around my soldier, and I'm going to click and drag. And you see these little handles pop up. That's because it gives us a little bit of a curve. See that? Nice and curvy. Now, if you want to have a sharp edge, just click. Click, and you get a cusp. That's the term for a hard edge. So this is how we used to do this. So you would break up your element into little key shapes, and you would draw these little points around there with the roto shape. When you're done, if you throw a viewer on, well, now you have you might look familiar. This is what we consider an alpha. So you can use that alpha by hitting M again, and I'm going to hook the A channel into the background plate, B into the roto, and I'm going to hit with this merge node Shift and X. That's going to flop these handles for me. Because what I want this to do is I want to mask off this section. I want to mask out the head of the soldier for this demonstration here. So what you do here is inside the merge, I want to say that this A, which is our input for the mats, and then the B is the background. So inside here with the merge, I'm going to click this over operation, and we have open up the menu, and I'm going to drag it down here and find mask. Now, if I put a viewer on here, now I just got the head. I got the head, guys. So it's all right there, and now we've isolated this, and now we can do some stuff. Another operation inside of here that is a core operation is going to be the stencil. So clicking down here, we want to remove things, cut things out. Well, that's going to be the stencil. And now, boom, there you go. Now, you'll see this dotted line around there. That's going to go away the second I close this off. But this is going to be our method for isolating different elements in order for us to start, breaking these things down, which we're going to have to do quite a bit. So before we're going to do that in the next chapter, because that's a long process, and I'm going to show you some ways to speed things up. But we still have some things we need to get organized. We need to start kind of assembling these things using these core tools. So one of the things, let's go to frame one. Let's start putting this together. So just like with anything with art, I want you all to think about this in terms of this is going to look awful until it doesn't. That's probably one of the biggest things I know new compositors get frustrated with. They know what they want it to look like in their head, and they start going through the process, and they're like, man, it's just not looking great. Is this something I'm doing? Do I know what I'm doing? I've been doing this for 18 years, and I can tell you I feel that way every single time I start a composite, including ones that I'm recording for you all to learn from. So we're going to learn along the way that feeling is totally okay. It's part of the process. And this image is going to look really silly until it doesn't. So we have these elements over here. I'm gonna of these tentacles. So let's start working on our composite, right? So another big thing with working in the DAG is I'm gonna zoom out. It's huge. So use it. This is your workspace. Use the workspace. So click and expand things out. Again, we want to keep everything nice and organized. So we're going to be selecting things. Let's go ahead and start typing in backdrops because I want to start uh, sectioning this off so that we have elements where we're just, parts of the script that we're just focusing on the monster. And then another element that we're just focusing on the fog. And then another section where we're just focusing on, debris and trash and, different elements on top. Section for just glows and blurs and all those things. Think of the DAG and a comp as just different sections of operations. So we want to organize things right from the start so that we make it easier when we need to start debugging things. So we're going to click on this backdrop, and I'm going to type in FOG or fog. This is where we're going to be doing all of our fog. Now I'm going to click over this monster error hit, and then yeah, these were generated in Stable Diffusion and removed the background already for us. And it's kind of assembled them. I'm just, I was just thinking like shapes. I just want something that looks interesting when we throw it in the background. So let's go ahead and throw it in the background. So we're going to hit M because we're going to make a merge. And we're going to assemble it right here. Throw it in there. And perfect. We're done. All right. Man, that was quick, right? It looks great. No, it looks awful. That's okay. That's part of the process. So we're going to, we want to reposition these things. So you're going to see inside here, I'm going to walk this through. So we have a transform that I'm rotating. And another thing that you should be aware of is that this little crosshairs right here, right? You can reposition this. You can reposition what's called the pivot point by holding down Control and clicking, and you can move it wherever you want. So I had it pivoted right here, and then I apply some transforms so that I could kind of rotate those tentacles. We did the same thing over here. I used a little node called mirror because I wanted to flop it. So boom, boom, flopped. This mirror node just opens up here. Again, you can find it by hitting tab and then just typing in mirror. And then I'm hitting horizontal for flop. So there you go. Again, we have a transform that I've adjusted right here to the top of the tentacle. And now this is going to allow me to wherever I rotate, it's going to rotate from that pivot point. I'm putting these two together with an over, and I'm not worried about the different colors or the lighting or anything like that because these are going to be like silhouettes. You're going to see a big part of compositing too is spending your time in areas that you're going to be able to see detail and taking away detail because we want to direct the eye inside of this composite. So then we have another transform right here. Now we merge these all together, and now we have perfect control over all of these. So this is the power of a layer of not using a layer-based compositing system. These nodes work in order. So we transform this. Now we merge them together. Now we have a master transform on top. So it's a way of building layers of control. And we're going to put these over here. And now that means if I want to reposition all of these, this master control, I'm going to click this right here. I'm going to click and drag over here. And let's go ahead and scale this down a little bit. Bringing it down. That's pretty cool. So again, I want to make sure I'm already thinking about composition. I know it's it's weird, but we're just starting this and we're already thinking about how all these elements come together, but it's super, super important. And, now I'm noticing my eye, this soldier needs something to fight at, right? So it looks like it's firing, so I should probably keep it like right over here. But I don't like how this tentacle crosses this background pole right here. So I'm going to go up here and I have full control. So now I can just kind of adjust it. All right. And maybe I want another tentacle. Well, let's just copy and paste. Let's put another guy back there. I'm holding down Control to make the dot node, and let's drag this over here, and then there we go. And we can make this look a little bit different by simply, so it's not repetitive. We can either change the scale of it a little bit, which might be cool, because this just felt like such empty space over here. We should have this. I don't know. I'm thinking of like a floating monster just up in the sky, right? And it's freaking this soldier out. He's trying to kill it. He's not going to be able to kill it. It's a monster. But this is just such empty dead space over here, and my eye kept going to it. So we should put something visually interesting over there and add some scale to everything. But we don't want it to be repetitive, so we can do things like changing the scale. Maybe let's adjust the skew. So skew will just kind of skew. How do you describe skew? It just kind of edges. It kind of tilts things a little bit. So that looks pretty cool. Now I'm seeing things looking a little bit more, unique. And if maybe we wanted to flop it, all right? Maybe we wanted to flop that original image. Now we have that over here. There you go. Now we have a whole other tentacle over here. It feels like they're all unique. And now we have this cool thing together. So we got those tentacles. And I also want to prep for down the road because I thought it'd be kind of neat if, right at the end of the shot, right, he kind of, lurches forward. Looks like he trips, but I'm thinking it like we need to have this big foot just kind of come down and squash this car and set off this big fiery explosion, and then like the whole frame just gets enveloped with fire. We started off with fog. Be really cool to end with fire. So we need to have an intention for that, right? So we're going to grab this tentacle right here, this tentacle foot with looks very very blobby, kind of DC like. I was kind of seeing it like that. A little Suicide Squad ish with that giant starfish is the way I was looking at it. But I want to order this a little bit different because I like having this monster all here. But I don't want to just be in this one merge. We're going to have multiple controls. And of course, this merge right here, this foot is going to go on top of everything else. So again, what we want to go on top is going to go after this merge. So we're going to hit M again, hit that merge, select it in, hook it into that transform. I'm going to hit a dot node because I want to expand and make room for down the road. And oh, there you go. And perfectly placed right out of the box. So you can kind of see like right here, we're going to have this transform. Let's time it. I want to actually kind of start right as he exits, right? So let's make it end. It's going to be fast too. So we're going to be working, compositing for feature film works at 24 frames per second. So I'm always kind of keeping count over how many frames. Now, if I'm in my viewer right here, and you have arrow keys on your machine, like all machines do, if you click forward, well, then I'm going to step through the frames. If I click back, I'm going to step backwards through the frame. Another hotkey. So I think at frame 160 is when this thing's going to start coming down. And I think it should end, man, really fast, right? Maybe 166. So over 6 frames, this foot's going to come crashing down on this car, and then we'll trigger an explosion. It's going to be a really cool end to this shot. So we're going to, again, we have the pivot point already set for the top of this foot, so it's perfect. So another core feature that I wanted to go over, which we're going to do a lot, is keying frames. So the way we do that is we'll see this little graph. Kind of looks like a graphing calculator, right? We're going to right click on that, and we're going to hit set key. Now everything turns blue. Now you're going to see also in the viewer, we have a little blue checkbox. Our frame number kind of turned blue with the little arrow right there. So that means we have a keyframe right there. We're going to now hit back. I'm going to step back to frame 160 when I want this to start coming in. And it's going to come from the well out of frame. So we're going to click and drag this. I'm just going to hit it kind of at an angle. It's probably right there. So as we step through, you're going to see it appears at 162. Boom, boom, boom. And then it's fully down. Another fun thing about the transform node is that based on how fast you're keying these frames, right? You would expect motion blur. So let's go ahead and take this motion blur knob inside the transform node from 0. Let's change it to 1. And now we're starting to get some. Boom. There you go. Cool. Love it. We're gonna add some more animation to this as well because I want these tentacles kind of like undulating and all of those things, but we're gonna get to that in down the road as well. But just keep in mind, this is all gonna be moving. And then I think this whole shot is probably gonna end a little bit sooner. I think it's gonna, yeah, probably fully at 190. Yeah, let's do 190. Yeah, let's do 200. I'm thinking of this as like heads and tails. Whenever you're in, like, if you're familiar with editing, I want to have enough room to kind of work, and I'm just kind of plotting this in my head, the timing of everything, because we're gonna have to do some more things. So another thing too is, of course, this. We're gonna have to work on our layering. So we're gonna have to roto out the soldier and put him on top. It's gonna be another reason we want to break all these things apart. And there we go. All right, cool. Let's bring in some more fog elements. I need some more fog. Let's click, I'm gonna click my Action VFX dashboard again. Handy dandy. And then let's go through, what else are we gonna need? We're gonna need some guns. Makes you feel like I'm in the Matrix, like we need some guns. We're gonna go through here and let's select front automatic. Yeah, because one of the things, another element that we're going to need, I'm going to click this guy. Where'd it go? Did it come in? Yeah, there you go. Perfect. All right, and bring in a movie. We're going to assemble this so that he's firing, right? Right now, this is just rapid fire. But it's going to look really, really cool. So we're going to put this over here. And I'm trying to think of the layer that, the way I want to layer this. Yeah, probably before the fog. So, and also before the monsters. So we're going to, actually, no, I'm going to want it to be after the monsters because we want the gunfire to be over these tentacles. So let's go ahead and make another merge node, hook those handles in, make a transform, and let's change our order of operation here from over. Let's go plus. Yeah, that looks better. All right, so we're going to grab this guy, and I'm going to try to position it right at the muzzle flash. It's way too big. Let's scale it down. What's an appropriate muzzle flash size? Maybe that. That looks probably pretty cool. Don't worry about that it's over the soldier yet. That doesn't really matter. There you go. That's cool. And then, does he keep firing? What do you guys think? Probably. And then he's running already. All right. So he's probably done firing by 134. So let's go ahead and open up our read node here. And I want this to keep firing. So another core node function that we should talk about is inside the read nodes. We have these, and the frame range holds. So what this means is that just going to stop. It's going to hold it right where it is. And what we're going to do here is we want this to keep looping. So I'm going to change this to loop. And that means he's going to keep firing over and over again until we tell him to stop. So he's going to be done right around here. And then what we're going to do is inside this plus, we're going to keyframe, set a key on the mix, step forward 1, and I'm going to mix it down to 0. So right there, it just fades off and it will never fire again. He's running now. Oh my gosh, there's a giant monster. I can't kill it. I need to get away. So we're doing this with the mix. Another option that you can always do too is just with the disable. So let's go ahead and right click on this and click no animation. We want to remove those animation keyframes. You're going to do that quite a bit as well. So no. Yep, we want to remove it. And if you click on this node tab over here, instead we're going to keyframe the disable. So right click, set key on disable, step forward 1, and now click disable. And now this is just going to disable this node. You can disable any node by highlighting it and hitting D. D is going to disable that node and it's going to remove whatever it is doing. Another thing that we're going to want to talk about real quick too, another core node, and we'll wrap this up and start, because really the next chapter is going to be where we start doing some fun stuff with rotoscoping and masking techniques, but is the crop. So a crop node, let's go ahead and tab, crop. Crops I'm going to add this at the very end of everything, because what it does is it basically just takes everything outside of the main resolution window that we have here, so 2048 by 858, and it's going to just crop it down. So that big, see that big checkerboard or dotted line all around there, you actually don't want that. Nuke is computing all that information over there, and it's just wasted CPU cycles. So we want to clean things up when we get to the very bottom of our tree and we're done transforming things. So we're going to hit crop, and then it's going to be bringing it all down here. Black outside, we're going to keep that on. And I also always check on reformat. It just kind of makes sure that it's bringing down to the root format and everything is nice and tidy. And then the last core node that we're going to be talking about is, of course, the write node. It is the inverse node of the read node. And this is how we're going to be outputting our comp for our final element. Let's bring in a couple more elements before we go, because I need some more. We're going to go through, I'm going to bring in a bunch of fog, but also I'd like some ash. I think some ash would be really neat. Let's go. Oh, I navigated away. Let's grab it. Let's bring some ash. There you go. Some more ash. Probably a whole bunch of ash. Don't go away. Come on. There you go, some more. All right, perfect. And let's go back. So we have our ash right over there. We're going to need some more fog. Click on the fog. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff. Haze for sure. So let's go ahead and bring in, yeah, that haze is nice. I want that fog too. Lingering fog will be great for the foreground. And then evaporation fog. Yeah, why not? We're going to need all the fog for this shot. We're going to keep it organized down here. Let's click this backdrop. I'm going to click delete. I'm just going to get rid of that guy. And I'm going to click on this backdrop. If you click on the main name up here, and it'll select everything inside there as well. So you can just click and drag it around. If you just click the node inside, it'll just be that. And if you hold down Control and you just click on the tab, you can just move that. So those are all of our elements that we're going to be using to turn, you can start to see the elements that we're putting together, right? We're going to see this giant foot come down, this car explosion. Oh, we need explosions. What am I thinking? Let's open this up. We need, let's go find some more explosions. These are all available on the ActionVFX website. Just so many great explosions. Ooh, I like that one. Let's bring you in. Yes, please. Open this up. I'm going to change that input transformer again, sRGB. And then this is a great one to show real quick because see how nasty those edges are? That is not going to do us any good. Let's see what happens when we put this on top. Ew, that's not great. So what we want to do, this is, if we click on the A right here, this is our alpha. And then this is our RGB layer. So the alpha will crop down all these pixels outside, and then that's what it looks like, a nice smooth image. But by default, this is what we call a unpremultiplied image. Now, if we hit tab, not tab in the viewer, that's the 3D view. If we hit tab in the DAG, it opens this up, our little search menu. We're gonna hit premult. And then this is the node, the last little core node that I would talk about, the premult, and then of course its cousin, the unpremult. When we throw this on here, what we're telling it to do is pre-multiply all of these RGB pixels right here by the alpha. And then when we do that, boom, it looks great. So we're going to throw this on top. We're going to probably transform this. This is definitely going to go on top of everything. I think we're going to have a whole explosion section. So let's, again, I'm expanding my DAG. I'm moving things around. Click, get a dot node. And I'm going to keep everything. Yeah, I like all of these elements over here on the left. I think what we should do is let's keep it always on the left. So we always keep going left to right. Click this down, drag it out. Remember, use all that DAG. You have a huge, huge tree, right? So all that space, expand your tree into it. It's going to help you down the road. I'm going to transform, and then this is most likely going to be a plus function. No, screen? No, we should just do over, because we have all this nice fog and stuff. And the transform is going to allow us to move it over by the car. We're going to transform it right on there on the ground plane. And I definitely don't want to make this any smaller. If anything, I would like it to be bigger. But we got to also adjust the timing. So the one thing about, let's step forward, step back. When does it squash? When do we want this to go off? I think we should have this explosion go off 166 right as it lands, right? So if we close here, open up this right here, you're going to see up top here, these little tabs. We have the node graph, which we've been working in. Then we have the curve editor, the dope sheet. And if we click on the dope sheet, since we have this read node here, we have what looks like a layer-based compositor. This is about as layer-based as you're going to find in Nuke. And it's there because it's very useful for sliding things in timing. So what we're going to do here is we want the start of this explosion to start right where this line is. This is our current view right here. It's 166. So let's zoom in. You can navigate around by scrolling your middle mouse and then clicking your middle mouse and then drag it around. And then right-clicking on here. And then you're literally just going to drag it around. There you go. See how it's changing? It's very neat. So it's probably going to start exploding probably a frame or two beforehand. Right around there. Boom. So we're going to see, and I think, we're probably just going to cut this off so it just goes right into the explosion. So let's zoom in here. If we move our mouse, we're going to see that the mouse kind of changes in this little arrow with a line. So this is our start. So we can kind of make sure that it only starts right there, and we're going to change our frame range so it doesn't just hold there. We're going to change that to black. So beforehand, there's nothing. And then boom. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Big old explosion. It's going to envelop the whole frame by 192. And we can do fun things now. So we have this transform. Let's move the pivot point down here, because what we can do is we can make this thing just take over. I think it would be really neat if it just like envelops the whole frame, right? So right after we're going to have it start growing. Right as it explodes, because I want to envelop this whole frame and the soldier. So we're going to right-click, key the scale. Again, I'm tapping forward, and by 189, I want it to be fully framed. So we're going to just boom. We're going to scroll back, and then let's play this. Let's see how it feels. That's going to be cool. Gotta have sound effects. We can also key on the motion blur, which will help as well. So when we transform it, we get even more of that. Then we're going to have to do some different cleanup and layering, probably some more explosions, right? We're going to want to roto out all of this stuff over here so we don't see that tracking. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Be super fast. And we might even retime this too. So let's go ahead and click on here. Let's hit retime. Retime does exactly what you think it does. It speeds things up. So let's double the speed. Double the speed of the explosion. That means we're probably going to have to adjust our dope speed, our location on the dope sheet, because it's already going to be done by the time. So disable this. What time does it come on? 165. All right, perfect. So let's open this up. And we're going to, and see, it visualizes it for you, which is nice. It shows you on the dope sheet where it comes. Perfect. Where's now retime to? So we're going to step back. Very cool. And you see it kind of ghosts these images right here. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to change our retime filter this right here to just be nearest. And we can take down the shutter to like 0.7. This kind of adjusts some timing aspects of it. Maybe 0.8. No, let's keep it at 1. Keep it easy. And now explosion. See a cool blur. Boom. Very neat. It's going to be a cool shot. I'm excited about this. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up here now. But in the next chapter, we're going to be going over really the bread and butter of this shot. We have all our elements in here. I'm going to bring in some ash and different elements like that. But next chapter, we're going to be covering rotoscoping and masking. Very important key skills for a compositor. So I can't wait to see you all next time. And until then, get there, play around, break things, experiment, and have some fun in Nuke, because that's what it's all about. All right, I'll see y'all later. And that wraps up chapter 2. Another one in the bag. You've learned how to use essential nodes like merges and transforms to create a basic composite. And of course, learn how to organize your node graph for clarity. These skills may sound simple, but they're the backbone for every project that you're going to work on as a compositor. So next up, we'll be tackling a critical aspect of compositing, isolating elements with rotoscoping and masking. You'll learn how to create clean masks the old-fashioned way, and we'll also use some advanced masking techniques that I'm super excited to show you. We'll be seeing you next time as we delve deeper into the Foundry's Nuke and unlock even more skills in Chapter 3. See you then. Bye.